I like to buy stupid crap. This is Simon, and you don't need me to tell you that. Welcome to Tessera's gaming room? Tessera's board game room? Tessera's, I don't even know what I'm gonna call this channel yet. This is a brand new channel. I'm gonna start posting content on here regularly, just like I do on my sister channel, Tessera's Nerf Room. And I think the first video that we need to start with is one of the most legendary board games ever created. This thing. This is Simon. If you don't know what it is, you know what it is. This is 4 colors. 1 button per color, and a button in the center. And it used to be so much more than that. I remember the original 70s ones of these. I mean, like, this came out all the way back in the 70s, and it was such a huge hit that it's still going on to this day. Usually fads from, like, the 70s don't really pick up, but this is one of the ones that stayed popular and is still popular to this day. Like, I'd argue that this is probably more popular now than ever. If you don't understand how it works, allow me to break it down for you. You turn it on, and then you push the button to start going. It pushes the button, you have to repeat it. And then it gradually starts adding more. Oh wait, be quiet. And as you play, it keeps adding more and more and more. And it eventually becomes so hard that you forget, oh my gosh, did it go here or there? And you push the wrong one, and that is how the game ends. The difficulty is impossible because you can't actually finish it, and yet super basic and easy at the same time. But we don't want the normal stuff. We want the weird stuff. And one of the weirdest anomalies that I ever saw in my life was the game of Simon throughout the 2010s. And boy, have I got a list of nuggets to show you all. One in particular is so absurd that it is the sole reason I'm making this video. But it all starts with this, Simon Swipe. This is a super good game, and I think this is actually the biggest improvement from the original design. This right here is as simple as it gets. It's still Simon, but now there's a whole bunch of games. So let's just click this one and start playing. Oh, you touch this, and you just start going like normal. What the heck was that? Swipe it. Get it? That's what it is. That's what this one does. And there's actually 4 different game modes that you can choose from. This was super interesting, innovative, and creative, using touch sensors instead of just having big buttons that you push in. The touch sensors are super responsive. This thing sold insanely well. I love this one. And in fact, this is the second one that I had, because the original one, the batteries got corroded and we unfortunately had to throw it away. But I found this one at the thrift store, and there is no way on God's green earth I was gonna pass this one up. So what happened after that? Well, to put it simply, it got weird. This is Simon Air. This thing completely failed. Because unlike Simon Swipe, which seemed to be having a really good idea and improving upon the original concept, this thing brought nothing new to the table other than the fact that, the future, you don't have to touch anything. So this is gonna be awkward because the camera's like up, but just bear with me here. You turn it, okay, please turn off. You don't touch it at all. It just detects that your hand is there. And it's actually rather responsive considering the amount of stuff that's going on. Oh yeah, it also has levels. I forgot to mention that these newer generation Simons usually have levels to them, where as you play, you gradually improve. This thing didn't sell very well. And I remember Walmart shelves being completely packed full of this thing because nobody wanted to buy it. And we bought one, and it worked for a while, but then it stopped working because our house was really small, and like it would detect the walls and not detect my hand, and we didn't have room for it. In this house, we have room, so when I found this one thrifting, of course I picked it up. Of course I did. But here's the biggest problem with this. It has nothing to do with the touch sensors. It's because you have to set it on a table. You see, the whole big idea with Simon is that it's portable. It's a circle. And this one in particular looks like a steering wheel. You hold on to the middle of it and you just play it wherever you are. Play it at home, you play it in the car, you play it on the bus, you play it in class and pray that the teacher doesn't see you. You can literally play it wherever you are. This thing, having air sensors and making it so that you have to be sitting like on a table, removes more than half of the possibilities for where you're able to play it, which kind of kills the whole point of this. This right here is a standalone board game and nothing more. In fact, it has a 2-player mode that you can turn on, and essentially it's supposed to be like one person's on one side, one person's on the other side of it, and you take turns activating it. It's wild. So, that leads us up to the one that we're going to talk about here. And I mean, granted, that's not considering my favorite one of all time that I actually bought a case for. This teeny tiny one right here, which is just 4 buttons. It's the same, but because it's small, you can press all 4 at the same time, and at least is some pretty fun gameplay, but that's besides the point. This one, I'm pretty sure you can still buy. They made a final one that sold so badly that I'm surprised it sold any units at all. This thing was received horribly, and it is an amalgamation beyond human comprehension. You thought that you'd seen enough out of Simon. The review has not even begun today. How do you fix the problem of having a Simon game with air sensors set on a table? Strap it to your face. Yup, this is Simon Optix. It's a pair of like dollar store, great value Apple Vision Pro that you put on your head, and it has touch sensors on the front of it, so you play the Simon while it's on your head. This thing, I have been using it all week, and I actually did keep the box because the box for this is really nice, but it baffles me that they came up with this, and it actually kind of works, and I'm actually super interested to take a look at this with you guys. Oh, it opens like a treasure chest, and there it is. Look at this thing. It looks cantankerous. And it really does look cantankerous, but like the quality of the build of this box and the quality of the unit itself is really nice. It's actually made out of stuff, which is surprising because Hasbro never makes anything out of stuff anymore. But it is made very solid. It's made of nice thick plastic. It's got these bright, vibrant colors on there that actually have a nice tactile feel to them, one on either side. The power button is this big button that just goes click, click, and it's very, very nice. And the most shocking thing out of anything is the fact that this is not uncomfortable to wear. So that's a little bit better. Now you can actually see me. Bear with me if the potato style videography is too annoying. This is still the first video on this channel, so I haven't fleshed out the recording setup at all. I mean, I just brought the camera in here and started filming, so I don't even know what's going on. But yes, we're going to go over this thing in its entirety. Starting with the design of it, I actually think that this looks pretty cool. I mean, it looks ridiculous. It looks like a pair of sci-fi goggles from the 60s. Like you would see in like a space movie from the 1960s, but it actually does look pretty good in person. And these dots right here, like you can see, there's like these sort of windshield style dots on the front of it. Yeah, when you put this on, it is basically impossible to see. Everything is blurry and warped. So you're obviously not meant to use this thing as like actual glasses. You're just meant to like put this thing on to play it, and then that's it. And then you just take them off afterwards. And yeah, it looks hilarious when you're unironically wearing it and you're just like chilling and you have this thing on your head. And can you believe that no one bought this? Can you believe that this thing didn't sell very well? Just the concept of this all by itself, I think was just too silly for like 90% of the mainstream audience, and so the thing sold like crap. There are some people who have gotten a lot of enjoyment out of them. I legitimately can't see you guys. There are some people who've gotten a lot of enjoyment out of them and did actually get these, but really nobody. I never knew anybody that had these. I never saw these things in public. Never. I never even saw someone leave the store with one. And I would go to Walmart a lot. I never saw these things being moved. In fact, it got to a point where I remember the boxes for these things actually got dusty sitting on the shelf, and you would see a thin layer of dust on the top of the boxes because literally no one wanted them. And that's sad. I mean, it really is sad how badly this thing failed. And I think this is the reason that Hasbro stopped making weird Simons after this, and they just went back to selling this one again because, I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just sell this one. And there's an identical one of these that has like touch sensors on it. It's got a green button here instead of the gray button. I have no idea what the difference is. I would like to get that one and compare it to this one, but I don't know. That's future me's problem to figure out. First of all, we gotta turn this nugget on. You push this button, and there you go. It's really loud. You tilt it down to adjust the volume. I'd turn it down a little bit, but yeah, if you turn it up, now it's trying to look for a different headset. I can't show you the multiplayer feature because, well, I don't have a second headset, but I can push this, and now it begins. You wave your hand in front of it, and it goes. It doesn't respond as well as the air. Let's see how far I can actually go. It is actually pretty bright. It's not bright enough to like cause damage to your vision, but it's definitely bright enough for you to notice. I hope that you guys can hear me because I don't want to be yelling a lot. Oh yeah, you do this, and that's pretty cool. And here's the interesting thing. Blue and yellow are the center. You hold your hand in the exact same spot for both of them. So it gets a little bit confusing after a while. It is pretty fun though, and the colors light up like very clearly right in your face. Oh. Oh well. I got 21. Or no, I got 11. But yeah, the reason the dots are there is to reflect the colors more so that you can more clearly see it in front of your face. Now, I know that looked pretty silly on camera, and of course it looks silly. I mean, I'm wearing a nugget that's lighting up in my face and then doing this like I have an Apple Vision Pro. But it is actually kind of surreal to have this thing on and have the colors just appear right in front of you and then be able to quickly respond to them just by putting your hand up. It is a very unique experience that is completely different than any of these other ones. In fact, this one is actually really, really fun to play around with, even if like you aren't used to it, even if it's gimmicky. And yes, it is gimmicky beyond all stretches of the imagination. The fact that it's a Simon game that you put on your face, I'll tell you guys right now that I remember we saw these and we looked at them and we just said, that's stupid, and we put it back. Just like probably so many other people did. And I feel like the fact that this gimmick went so far, because the gimmick evolved from just, oh yes, it's Simon, to the Simon Swipe with the touch sensors, to the Simon Air with the proximity sensors, to a Simon Air that you wear on your face with more proximity sensors, that the gimmick got old. And I feel like the mainstream audience really were tired of just seeing more Simons for the sake of there being more Simons, and hence, this thing was an absolute failure. But all things considered, when you actually give this thing a chance and you play around with it and you use it, it's actually really fun, and it's not even bad. Like, this thing is made really well. It's actually super fun to play around with, and it's very entertaining, like if you're in the car or something like that. If the audio is too annoying for people around you, you can just turn the audio off like you can with any other Simon game. But if they don't mind, or you're alone, it's super fun. It's super interesting to play around with. Just do not play this in the car. Like, don't play this while you're driving, because you can't see out of it. When the lights go on, it blocks your vision completely, and it's literally impossible to see anything in front of you every single time one of the lights turns on, especially if it's the yellow or blue ones. If a yellow or blue one turns on, goodbye to your eyesight. But yeah, the Simon Optix is a very interesting board game, and I honestly wouldn't be opposed to giving this thing a shot. If you happen to find one on sale somewhere, or heaven forbid you actually find these things in the store and they aren't charging too much for them, this is actually a pretty good buy. So with all that said, thank you guys for watching. Bye.